Welcome to this edition of Northwest Real Estate Forum. I'm your host, Patricia Wangsness. Our mission is to bring you experts and relevant topics that will help you understand the art, science, and timing of real estate, because after all, your home is your biggest asset. David is joining me again today for some of the highlights about short sales, foreclosures, and bank-owned properties. Thanks for coming, David.
It's nice to be here again.
So the national news again is full of short sales and foreclosures and bank-owned properties, and we get a lot of calls that everybody thinks that's the next hottest thing to do. So maybe we could just sort of do a highlight of what do the three mean, and then we can go later on in depth about what they are.
Well, a short sale is probably the first one that's in line when people think they can, and usually it's maybe a first-time buyer that thinks, oh, I can get a short sale, it's a real deal. And a short sale isn't necessarily a deal, and especially if you have a deadline that you want to close on time or within a 45 to 60-day period, a lot of times a bank won't do that. Banks going back and forth negotiating the short sale have to approve everything, so the time frame involved is quite lengthy.
So a short sale, just to be clear, is when the seller doesn't have enough money to fulfill the mortgage and the closing costs. So people think that it's a deal because they're bringing the price down, but again, timing is the issue.
Exactly. And again, it may not be a short sale if the individual seller has money in other accounts. So it may not be approved as a short sale, and they will still have to come to the table with money. But that's negotiated with the bank over time.
And that's what takes all the time.
Exactly.
So foreclosure. If the short sale doesn't work out, sometimes the seller will have to go through the foreclosure process. And people always say, oh, I want to buy a foreclosure. So what does that exactly mean?
Buying a foreclosure it means going down on the courthouse steps and making a bid for the property that you want. You have to bring cash. There are hard money lenders that will lend you money for the short term at exceedingly high rates, and then you need to pay it back quickly. But you have to have the cash. There are some pitfalls in doing a foreclosure. You don't know. You may not be able to get in to see the property. You may be able to drive by. There may be people in it that have to be evicted after you buy the property. There could be mechanics liens that don't show up on title, that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of underlying problems that people that a first-timer really needs to be worried about. Now, you and I became a foreclosing agent because we bought a note from the bank, but
we also had to take it through foreclosure, go down to the courthouse steps, and put the house up for auction. In our case, no one bought it, and we wound up owning it, and we fixed it, and then we resold it.
Right. So then the third option is after the foreclosure, the bank then, nobody buys it at auction, then it becomes a bank-owned property.
And that's probably, if somebody wants to buy any of those three, under any of those three scenarios, the bank-owned property is probably the best one to go after. Sometimes it can be a deal because the bank wants to get it off of their books and sell. Towards the end of the year, they're a little more apt to sell something than they are in the middle of the year at a reduced price. But it's usually sold as is. If there's any work to be done, you can have your own inspection, but the bank will not do any work.
Right. So the good news is you can get in to see the property, you can have a thorough inspection, and the other thing that we're going to go into more depth on next week is you can get a title policy. So people need to understand that that's really important as far as the financing portion.
Right. The bank has an asset management desk, may not be local, and it may take a little more time, but at least you will know exactly where you stand most of the time with the bank. And it is represented by a listing agent.
Right, so there's a lot more information available.
Exactly.
Well, thanks very much. I think that was a really good explanation of those three items, and we'll look forward to title information next week.
Terrific.
Thanks for watching this edition of Northwest Real Estate Forum. Whether you're buying, selling, or sitting on the sidelines, keep watching for important information on topics that are impacting your biggest asset, your home. To learn more about this and other shows, please visit us at northwestrealestateforum.com or check us out on Facebook. While you're there, be sure to order your free copy of Neighbor Law, Fences, Trees, Boundaries, and Noise by Cora Jordan. You will be surprised what you learn. I'm your host, Patricia Wangsness. See you next time.